Hello, everyone. This is my senior capstone proposal, and my project name is Anonymity. So, overview of me is that I am Nathaniel Jara. I have started my college career at Leeward Community College, and I was transferred to UH West Oahu 3 years ago. I am a graduate of Lelo High School in the class of 2019, and my major is creative media in the concentration of video game design and development. So for this proposal, presentation, I'll be going over my capstone project, my thesis statement, my objective slash rationale of the research I have conducted, and address the significance of my project through my research. So my thesis statement is: anonymity provides a safe way to freely express oneself without being judged for their identity. Meaningful social interactions to create strong communities, and critical feedback on creative works or assignments. The objective and rationale for this research is to better understand the reason people choose to stay anonymous while interacting with others online. So for my senior capstone plans, I plan to create a podcast series with various anonymous content creators who I only know through their online persona. Each episode will contain a different creator and will be asked various questions regarding why they choose to use an online persona with interacting with others online. This will shed a light on the reasons why and actions they take to stay anonymous. Significance. So the first significance is that more and more content creators are becoming more anonymous through the recent years on social media platforms like YouTube and Twitch. So the significance about this future implication is about the normalization of staying anonymous online, because as we keep going through time, we have like a lot more people who choose to want to stay anonymous while being content creators. So there's more of a normalization of being more anonymous online compared to back then in the past, where 2012-ish era of YouTube, where like everyone wanted to show their face. Then we got these big content creators that are making it big, but with the recent years, it's hard to like get a brand out and a market out for those people because they're being judged because of their identity. So there's this normalization of staying anonymous. So the second significance is about the community building with the normalization of anonymous users, because the future implications is with the normalization of anonymity, a community of anonymous users can still be built and may change the landscape of online communities such as higher education. It's because with people being less shown of their like identity, like for example, not showing their cameras on, it it would be seen like it's hard to get more quality relationships between the teacher and the student for a higher education. So it would create like a more difficult way to get education out to these people compared to in person. But there are thing in the recent years more there's still more quality education that can actually or probably rival in-person teaching with online teaching. So I think this is quite important because of the normalization of anonymity, that you're able to have these quality interactions with others online, which could also probably rival in person. So this is the data from statista.com. So the first one on the left is about the number of internet and social media users worldwide as October 2023 in the billions, which on the internet users are 5.3 billion users, while almost a large percent of these internet users are also social media users. So there's like 4.95 billion social media users. On the right, it shows the most popular social networks worldwide as of October 2023, ranked by number of monthly active users in the millions. So there's Facebook being on the top, YouTube, WhatsApp. So I think this would give a more general overview of why, well, normalization of anonymous is important, because there's a lot of people who use internet but are interacting with the others without even knowing their identity. So I think this is a very good data to show for the normalization of anonymous. And for this slide, this is the data from userlocal.jp, a Japanese data analysis firm. Shows how many users are part of a community from different anonymous content creators. So these content creators, well, it's in Japanese, but they're the first person on the top is actually an English North American content creator by Gargura. Then the second is Japan, because Kizuna Ai. So these people are anonymous content creators, but as you see on the right side of the picture is that the green number represents how many people are following this person, and that this person had created a massive community while staying as an anonymous content creator. So these are right now the top 7 anonymous content creators through YouTube, Twitch, or the other social media platforms. So most of my target audience is actually for the older generations, just because of the stigma that exists for online interactions. Do they have more quality relationships with their students or their coworkers without knowing their identity? So I think educators and people above the age of 30 are a great target audience for this, just because it would give the insight of why most of these users want to stay anonymous, and why the normalization of anonymity is quite important for these people. So with the knowing that they wanted their identity hidden, I think they're still able to create much more quality relationships between each other, even though they don't know each other with their identity. So my proposed solution, well, is the significance of my project is that it's to challenge the norm of what institutions define as meaningful in online interactions. As I kept saying before, is that I think online is still a great way to create meaningful interactions with others, but with there's still that stigma that exists. Even I personally have this stigma with having meaningful online interactions, even though I do have online friends. But for school, I feel like I still have that stigma of I would rather have in-person interaction rather than an online interaction. However, there are meaningful online interaction you are able to create online, and I think we as the older generations are not seeing right now is through how the younger generations are creating more interactions that are very meaningful with each other, and that we're just not seeing it just because it's all hidden. That's why the normalization of anonymity. So my deliverable would be a podcast series, because I'm gonna have various content creators that I've only known personally through their online persona, mainly virtual YouTubers, because I have made connections over the past 2 years as a content creator that is anonymous. I've made several friends that I don't even know who they look like, what their actual name is. I just only know them through their persona. So my preparation slash process is that I will ask a lot of these content creators to join my podcast series, and I'll ask a lot of questions during the podcast series about why they are anonymous. Are they having a very meaningful community that they built because of their anonymity? And so it goes leads into production, where I will be using Discord, because I mostly have all these people friends on Discord. So it'll be much easier to record and do interviews on Discord, and I'll be using Audition to record this audio. Then there'll be several episodes of the podcast series that will show why these creators stayed anonymous. I'll be posting these on social media platforms. And this is why there's also a podcast series, just because I want to keep these creators anonymous still without showing any other things that may or may not show their identity. So yeah. Thank you.